What is up YouTube? I've got 10 deadlock tips for you today. Some are quick tricks that make a big difference, and others are key to keeping you ahead in your games. Whether you're just starting out or you want to improve your gameplay, these tips will help you out. Let's get into it. Alright, tip number 1 is the circle indicator for how much damage you're gonna be dealing to an enemy. So as we get close to an enemy, we deal a certain amount of damage. Right now, I'm dealing 30. As we get a little bit further away, you notice that there's a yellow circle that starts popping up here. It's a little gray right now because I'm not too far, and I'm dealing 26 damage, so that's 4 damage less. The further back you go, the more yellow it becomes. Now that I'm at, let's say, 15 meters here, look how yellow that is, and now I'm dealing 24 now. Let's say I'm back at 5 meters here, now it's super yellow, and I'm dealing, well, that was a headshot, and I'm dealing 20 damage. Now I go back all the way to the line here, and boom, I'm dealing 11. If I go even further back, now you notice it's red. This red circle, now I'm dealing 3. That means you're dealing the least amount of damage possible. And now because it's already red, it doesn't really decrease anymore the further back you go, because it's already a red circle. So let's see that here, 3 damage. Still gonna be 3 damage next time he passes. Well, I missed. There we go, let's do it again. 4 damage, 3 damage. So it's in between the 3 and the 4, but now right here, that is an orange circle. Now I'm dealing 10. So this is really nice during the laning phase, especially to know how far you are and how much damage you're going to be dealing to a certain enemy at certain ranges. And now you know what that little circle is for. Tip number 2 is to pay very close attention to the HUD on the top of your screen here. Notice how there's a little circle with a lightning strike on it. You can actually see if someone has their ultimate ready or how close they are to having it ready by looking at the circle. You can also see their health, and if you can see their health, that means that someone has seen this person in the last few seconds. So the HUD actually gives you a lot of information, but the most important piece is how ready somebody's ultimate is. That way you don't have to walk into a lane or into a team fight without knowing if an enemy has an ultimate or not. This way you're not surprised when your team doesn't use a certain ultimate because you can see it on your team too, or if an enemy uses something that you thought should have been on cooldown, now you know. Tip number 3 is how you use your unlimited ammo. You might already know that you get this unlimited ammo here whenever you're sliding, which is really useful already, but the best way to use this is during the laning phase. Whenever you're trying to get a last hit or so, you're going to be shooting once or twice. You might really want to be sliding down the steps on your lane, or whenever you dodge and then just hold control. That way you just always have a little bit of unlimited ammo and you don't run out as easily when trying to shoot your souls, when trying to confirm them. You're more likely to lose your souls to get them denied if you ran out of ammo, if you have to reload right when a soul comes up. So this way, just shooting a few extra times with the unlimited ammo can mean that you have more ammo in general, just to be able to deny your creeps or confirm them a little bit easier. That way you don't have to reload at a really bad time during the laning phase. Now tip number 4 honestly took me an embarrassingly long time to learn throughout my gameplay, but that is that when you're in the middle of the air, you can actually double tap control to go down much quicker. Let's compare that to just dropping by itself. Look at how slow this is. You're just falling down nice and slow. But if you use one stamina by double tapping control twice, see how fast I just dropped? That's much better. You can use this whenever you're repositioning, whenever somebody's chasing you, you gotta jump down a hill, you do this, you're gonna be a lot quicker than the others who are following you. They're also gonna have a harder time trying to aim at you because you're gonna be dropping really quick, so that will give you a slight advantage throughout your games. Just keep in mind that it does use one stamina. Tip number 5 is especially useful during the laning phase when you're trying to get as many last hits and as many souls as possible. You notice that as your creeps hurt the enemy creeps, as they're about to die, they start glowing and your creeps stop attacking them. And that glow means that they've got about a second left for you to actually shoot them before they fully die. During this time period, your creeps are not going to be hurting them. So you actually have free reign to get the last hit right there. That makes it super easy during the laning phase to just get last hits because your creeps won't be attacking them during the glow and you'll be guaranteed that last hit at that moment. You don't have to wait for this glow, but it's just good to know that they won't disappear and they won't be attacked by your creeps or towers or anything like that for that whole 1 second time frame that they are glowing. Tip number 6 is also during the laning phase, enemy creeps can always be seen through walls up to about 40 meters. So you don't really have to worry about, oh, am I gonna miss this creep? Is it low on health? Any of that. Just pay attention to the screen. And even if you're last hitting here, notice on the right side, I always have a little arrow pointing to where the creeps are and how much health they have. So now I know that this one is low. I keep shooting at this one, and notice at the bottom here, they're still there. And now I know that it's low, and now I can turn around and shoot it. You can always spot enemy creeps as long as you're within that 40-meter radius here. Around 40 meters. I don't know the exact number, but it's big enough for a lane. At 20, you can still see it. Keep going back here, keep going back. There we go. That's when I stopped here, because I know there's one right here. That's around 40 meters, I would say. Now, tip number 7 is something that I often see newer players do, and that is that they ignore these boxes or the golden monkeys, and you don't want to do that. You really want to break these things as you pass by them, as you run past them, because the boxes can give you money, and the golden monkey can give you buffs. And as you can see, some of these buffs are very, very useful, especially when you can see and get so many of these golden monkeys all at once. There is of course a chance you're not guaranteed them, but all these things will stack up, and these bonuses do get pretty big throughout the game. It's a small benefit, but it's a way to boost yourself without really having any extra cost. Once you get a few of them together, they do add up to quite a few items worth of money by just destroying the golden monkeys and the boxes as you go throughout your game. Zero cost, only benefits. And around the same lines is tip number 8. You want to roll or slide over your containers. You don't actually have to shoot or melee them, you can just slide over them. And you don't have to stop running, you don't have to stop doing anything. Let's say that you're going towards a lane, you can just roll over the boxes, roll over the containers, and you don't lose any time. And you get your buffs and your money from the boxes and the golden monkeys. This is something that I know a lot of newer players don't know about, that they will just run up to it and melee, but you don't have to do that. Tip number 9 is that you can see when people have taken the urn and what team they're on by noticing the color of the square where you're supposed to drop off the urn. Notice on the map here that when it's green, that means that your team picked it up. If it's red, that means the enemy team picked it up. I say this because it is a lot easier to notice that than to look for the urn on the minimap. It might not be as noticeable because the urn wouldn't be there. So red square on the minimap, it means the enemy has taken the urn. Green square means that your team has taken it. So now when the enemy team picks it up, you can either intercept it as they're going over to the drop-off point, or you can have a fight at the drop-off point. Or depending on what's best for your team, you can just push out another lane, and while everybody's distracted, take a walker or so. And last but not least, sound cues are so important to your game that you can actually figure out when an enemy has used a specific ability near you, or if somebody's farming next to you or something around those lines. You can actually just hear through walls. As long as they're within your range, you'll be able to hear what they're doing, if they're running next to you, if they're farming or using abilities. And if they're using abilities, you can hear what abilities are being used. Once you play for a while, you understand which abilities have which noises, so it's a lot easier to understand what is happening around you. Deadlock actually has really good sound design, and this is on purpose so that you can, just by being around the area, understand what is happening around you because of the field of view. It's a third person instead of a top-down view like most MOBAs. So make sure that you have your sound on and that you're actively paying attention to it. The different sounds that your own team makes and the different sounds that the enemy team makes. It's a huge advantage to be able to react early, or just knowing what is on cooldown or not. Now I hope that these tips help make you a better Deadlock player so that you can make the most out of your Deadlock games. If you have found these tips useful at all, hit that like button and leave a comment if you have any more tips to add. I'll catch you in the next one. Owl out.